Hello. Today we're talking about energy and things that are unseen. So, unseen energy and the way that people communicate. And really, the topic I want to talk about is when people are in a relationship and one of them goes outside of the relationship to interact romantically or sexually or in any kind of intimate way with somebody else other than their partner. So um, I think that it has an energetic component of, I'm not exactly sure, which is why I wanted to ask this guy about that. So what would you say? I know that there's a lot of different reasons. You know that there's not just one reason, and um, I've heard a lot of women during their pregnancy that their partner goes off with another woman, and goes to shows and goes and does things, and maybe has some sort of an intimate relationship with another woman. And I know it also happens in same-sex relationships that for one reason or another somebody sneaks off and then it's an unseen, it's an energy, right? So I would like to hear from you what makes you want to do that, or what is it that takes you there?
Okay. Um, well, first of all, I think that it's all down to the relationship that the persons are in. Some relationships, that kind of interaction is encouraged and it's okay and it's approved and is completely, it's
Give me an example.
set up like that.
Okay.
Open marriages, polyamorous,
Oh,
um,
it's set up like
it's
that.
set up that way. They understand that
They have rules
they
and
have
codes
rules,
and
they have set it down. It's like, if this happens, or you're encouraged for this to happen, or we, there's an agreement, there's a pre-spoken um, commitment or base ground for that kind of interactions. Because as you say, it happens a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It happens a lot. So people, especially in this day and age, are starting to um, find ways to make that be okay, be comfortable with themselves, and so that's one. And then there's the other side of it when it isn't set up that way. It's not meant for that. The relationship was not disposed um, to having external relations. So that becomes a pattern, whether it is this way or is this way. I feel the cause is the same. It's because there's energetic, which some people might think is a physical thing, or it's like, oh, this is, but it all comes down to the energy representing itself and a physical need um, towards something else that you maybe can't find where you are. It's like having a headache and taking liver medicine.
What's that analogy
For people that also might get out of a relationship to look for something else.
Get out of relationship?
No, or like
stay in the relationship but go out looking for
yes,
something else.
Exactly.
So how does this headache? Where's the headache in
For example, you have a connection with somebody, but you have some other type of um, calling. Something else is calling your need of your thing. You feel you need this, and you can't find it where you are. There is people have the decision of terminating. It's like, hey, I need to go do this because I have this thing that I need to figure it out. Or what most people do is like, well, I really like this. I don't want to let go of this, but I still need to take care of this other need that I feel. And so that happens.
So, sorry to interrupt you, but astrologically, there's something called relationship axis. And each one of these pathways, there's different ways that we want to connect with a partner. And the way we meet, the way we met, it's magical. It's mysterious. There's no, that is the great mystery. What brought two people together is a mystery. But then the work required to, I think it's a lot of communication. You know, if the person says, "Hey, I have this calling and I want to go experience these things," both people can talk about that. And from my experience, which is very little, I've only had a little experience with this happening. Um, it, you know, once you get the information from the person, then the unseen energy can now be put into words, and we can run that energy through our bodies and connect that way. There is something called the Leo Aquarius relationship axis, which is those are the ones who are most set up for polyamory and for open relationships. So if two, like, we don't have the same, he has that Leo Aquarius, I have Taurus and Scorpio, so there is a little bit of a difference. You could make it work, but it takes some effort, and I think in all relationships it takes effort and it takes this communication. So when you're saying, I felt this and I wanted to go that way, then I just wonder, is there a little bit of cowardice in the way of, like, not
Oh,
being
yeah.
able to say to the person, "Hey, I have this feeling."
Absolutely.
The next thing also, so there is a little bit of, what do you call it, being
It's a fear of loss, is what it is. It's an ego, the ego mind, the I fears of losing, because especially on the relationships where the framework is not set up for that. There's a fear of, if I get this, I won't be able to have this, and so you fear it. And but just like anything else, once it's set up in your mind, for most people, once you know that you have the need, it's gonna happen. You're gonna go there. So it takes us, like you said correctly, is a serious amount of disposition towards the partner, and respect, and um, a conscious effort of being honest, of you know and allowing the fear of losing being lesser than the potential for a new openness, for feeling that you are honoring your truth.
The next thing that comes up is that feeling that you have. I don't know, because my relationship style is very much like, I feel drawn toward my partner. Like, I feel that energy coming up, and I would just want to connect deeper and more intimate and more with one person. And I also have the experience, when I'm connected at that level with somebody, I don't even notice anybody else. They're like background to my intense passion and desire and the feelings that I feel with the person that I'm with. So that's my style, and I know everybody has a different style. But the thing I want to ask is, um, that energy that you feel pulling you this way, I wonder if it is your own longing for yourself, for a part of your own self, that you think going and catching this thing is going to bring you closer to something. Because from what I've experienced from other people, talking to when I was in the Navy, this was a very common thing. Like, 99% of men would go out on ships and have affairs, and they were never satisfied, they were never happy, it didn't fulfill anything for them. So that's what I'm wondering. Like, when you go and you catch that other thing and you're like, "Yeah, I got it," and mark your headboard, or whatever the guys say, their old fashioned thing, they like got another notch on the headboard. Do you feel fulfilled? Is it satisfying? Or
I think it's an individual thing. I think no other person is gonna bring fulfillment, whether it's just one person that you're doing it with, or whether it's 300 people you're doing it with. It just doesn't work that way. There, we are all set up to be complete, and if you can be consciously connecting with each relationship and with each person in a way that truly fulfills a person, you can be focused with one person and be fully fulfilled with one person, And you can also do the opposite. You can have this one person and just not be fulfilled. You can have all these different people and still not be fulfilled. Because at the end of the day, the truth is it is an internal experience. And even if you are getting fulfillment for this one person or from this several other people, whatever the case it is, we can't really know the difference until we are totally fulfilled by ourselves, with ourselves, you know.
So this is really something I know, like a lot of women who've had somebody, we call it cheating, when somebody has cheated on them. Two things I want to hit. One of them is, how do you do it? Like, how do you, like, if, I was having dreams, like visions of, I would see the women. I would know actually the moment he was doing something. I would feel it. I would see everything. And then I would say, hey, I had this dream and I had this feeling. And what happens in you where you're just like, I would hear you say, you're crazy, you're insecure, and you're this and that. And then I would question myself and be like, I think I am crazy. I think something's really wrong with me right now. So how do you, and what's your, because a lot of women will want to know.
Well, to me, since I don't want to, I understand energy in a way. I'm awake to that sense. I knew that you would know. I knew that you can tell. I know that nothing is hidden. So I was well aware of that. I was not ever wondering whether that was. I was always.
Really?
Yeah, I knew you knew. It was just my own sense of what decisions do I need to make to be okay with letting go. My only thing was that fear of loss. You don't want to lose this, beautiful thing that you have, or you're not ready to lose it yet, or you don't know what to do about it. But there's also, there's other factors that played into it, and I don't know. I think it's in a total individual level. I can't speak for why.
Just for you.
Yeah.
Just for you, because I think that you.
Yeah.
Not that you represent all men, but you do have some insight into. One of my mentors, when I talked about this with her, she said, "What do you mean you didn't know?"
Yeah.
She said, "Every woman who I know knows, and that they know," and I think because I wanted to believe so much that it wasn't true, that I chose his words over my feeling. I chose his words over my, what I was seeing and getting. And so I just wonder, what would you say to not to like out the men or anything like that, but for giving us some clues into. I don't even know. Like, so what? We have a clue. We already know.
Yeah, it's the other way around too. Like whenever we weren't together anymore, and we're connected. When you're connected to somebody and you've established a strong connection, I could feel when you were out or when you were this or when you were that. Trust that, because that's true. That is real. You might not. Don't get on details. Oh, did this is that? Because some of the details that people think they got, no, that wasn't the case. But the overall substance of there is this happening, then trust it. Be with it, and never take it personal. That's number one. Never take it personal. It's never about the other person.
That was something that was really helpful
it's
to me.
It's never you. It's never. Even I've been on the other side of this. I've been cheated on myself. And I've been the person who somebody's cheating with. This is something like a part of my energy component of just kind of breaking those things and being in the middle of this stuff that maybe when I was a little more unconscious and just kind of going with the experiences I lived. But what I've come to conclude is that everybody just wants to connect, and that people just have this need to experience each other, to love each other. And it's all perfectly fine. It's just the frameworks that we set with each other to experience what we want to experience that makes it right or wrong. It's just the agreements that we make with each other that make the experience be a positive one or a not so positive one.
A negative one.
Or a negative, a very negative, terrible one. It is that. It is
Yeah.
the the honesty that we have with each other. I think that's about. It's the self responsibility to be in honor your own truth and the truth that you share with somebody else. I don't think anybody should feel guilty of anything that they desire to do. I think that one of my very foundational ideologies that I have is express yourself, be yourself, do what you gotta do, but honor everything in between. You know, it, be honest about it, be open about it. Let people have the opportunity to decide whether they want to be a part of that or not. And that was my mistake. And in learning, I wouldn't know that now if I wouldn't have gone through those lessons of being in each side of the equation. You know, and that's.
Okay, so I had another question, but I think you answered it. One more thing. Okay, so do you think that if you've already been, where I'm saying, hey, I have this feeling, and you're like, no, 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 do you think that there could be a turnaround? Because I feel like there's a point of no return where you built it up so much that you have this other whole life that you can't come clean. You cannot come clean, you know? And I've always heard stories where the woman just finds out, or their partner is caught red-handed, or the phones and the text messages and the emails. Those are the over and over. That's how I found out too. So then then you're caught. Then what is you're just like, oh shucks, like what do you know what I mean? Like what?
It's an individual thing. I think that internally we all want to tell the truth. So we all find ways of, even unconsciously, we are gonna tell you. We're gonna set up whoever is doing something, because there is this disalignment, there's this dissonance. If we're aligned with what we're doing, then it's just flowing. But when the tension is there and there's something happening, there's a tension, you can't avoid the tension. So since it's so manifested in an energetic world that you can feel the tension, there is going to be therefore automatically a physical manifestation of that tension that has to resolve. It has to. Everything that expands contracts, and its opposite. So I've found myself leaving clues and leaving it, because you always want to open. The truth sets you free, and he who lies carries more pain than he who's being lied to. Always. So there's this, but again, that's a matter of individual, like being self-aware. There's a lot of people out there, especially not to hate on my men, but a lot of men don't really connect to themselves and with their truth like that. So they're gonna take it to the grave. They will take it to the grave.
That's something I really want to change. Like a lot of my friends are doing all this women's work and work with women, but I really feel it breaks my heart that so many men who are not connected to their own self, that they don't know themselves. They just want to watch football and drink beer and like rah, but really inside they're like a little puppy dog who's like lost. So I feel like that might be part of it too, like not trusting your own self enough and being courageous enough in yourself to be able to come to your partner, the person that you love, and say, hey, I have this feeling. Because instead of doing that, it's easier just to chase things, and go that way. So I think we're done. Thank you so much. Please leave any comments. We will answer them, and not too much disrespect or hate toward this, the situation, because honestly, this situation is the reason why I'm able to do a lot of things that I couldn't do before. So thank you very much, and I look forward to connecting with you soon.